Hi guys, welcome to Dragon's Cave. My name's Karen. I'm going to be using this tray mold today, and I'm going to, for the first time, attempt kind of a seascape, I suppose you'd call it. So I've got some sand, um, got this pot of shells. So I'm going to put kind of like down here some sand in the bottom, some shells, probably in this pot. Then I'm going to, for the upper part, I'm going to use a combination of blue and green. These are pigment dyes. Oops, there we go. Good start. And sky blue to kind of gradients, I suppose, in the colours of the water. And I have got this ocean white. I'm probably being way over ambitious here, attempting any kind of waves, but I'm going to give it a go. So I'm going to go off and mix up my resin, and I will be back in just a tick. Bye. Hi guys, back again. So resin's all mixed up. I've got roughly 180 grams in here. Can't remember how much the mold takes anyway, but I'm going to start by I'm going to pour some into this cup, mix with the sand. Don't know how much I'm going to need individually in these cups, but I'm also going to pop some in here, just a drop in there. Just going to put some of these shells in. I'm not going to use too many, but I want them to kind of start filling, I suppose, with resin, so that excuse me, frog in my throat. Hopefully I won't get too many air bubbles in them. Now, unfortunately, this type of shell does trap bubbles. I'm not going to be too distressed about it because there will be a backing layer anyway, so if they do float a little bit, it's not a massive problem. I'm actually going to put the shells, way too much resin in there because obviously the sand is going in as well, mostly around the edges. I'm going to try and put one or two in here. I'm just worried about, there's plenty of depth there. Yeah, mostly around the edges here. I'm going to try and turn them so you can see them better from the other side. So kind of, oh, over you go. Okay, so just a few more. And since they're all resin coated, I might as well pop them all in. Various sizes. These shells actually came from Temu. Don't know how I managed it, but I thought I'd ordered one tab and ended up with three, but that's perfectly normal for me. Especially when you get the, if you use Temu, you'll know all about the way they kind of rope you into buying more stuff by saying spin this wheel, get more, get freebies, get vouchers, and I end up checking out with the same thing more than once. I'm a bit of a sucker, unfortunately. Such is life. Okay, so I'm going to just spread these around a little. Probably got way too many shells in here, to be honest, but don't want to waste them. Quite a big one, so I'm going to pop him down in there. Spread them out a little more. Okay, so I've got a little resin left over and pop that back into this pot to mix with the sand. I'm just hoping that the sun doesn't get too much under the shells and you still be able to see them. So just spooning some sand into the resin because I want to make sure there's no air bubbles, or as few as possible. So if you kind of mix the sand into the resin as opposed to the resin into the sand, generally it does release the bubbles better. Or in my experience it does anyway. Not necessarily the case. So put a little more in there. You can always pop extra sand onto the back anyway. And what I should do is to just let this, pour this in and let this sit before I add the colours. Unfortunately, I just don't have time to do that. What I am going to do, excuse me 1 second, just going to prop this up because I don't want it running too high up the mould. So I've got to find something to prop it with, haven't I? Oh, I thought I was so well organised. I always think I'm well organised, and then it turns out I'm really not. Okay, so I don't want that going up as high as it is. Hopefully when I put the colour in, that'll help it come down this way. So I've got loads of sand mixed ready. So I've got a little mould here. Sorry about crackling noises. I need to get this one out of the mould, out of the packaging. It's just a little starfish mould. So kind of ideal, I suppose, for a little further for using sand in. Why am I holding that? Who knows? So hopefully this should, oh, it's going to fill it up and more. Okay, so that's that done. And this mould is lopsided. No, it's not. It's not on the mat properly. Pay attention. So that will be demolded later. So I kind of miscalculated here time-wise and everything, but I got my resin mixed up, so I need to use it. I'll grab another little cup. And resin's starting to get warm, so I need to get my colours mixed. I'm running out of space here. I don't have a lot of room on my workspace. Okay, sorry about that. Something popped up on my screen and kind of went away. Hope that I haven't lost anything there. I hadn't realised. Okay, so I'm going to start with the darker blue and pop a little bit of green into it. Just a couple of drops. I don't want it too dark. Like that. I have another stick because that one's covered in sand. I think I need to go a little darker. I'd like that to be a little more green as well, so I'm just going to pop a couple more drops of green in there. I don't use pigments very often, so it's kind of trial and error still for me. Okay. It's very transparent still, but I think that's going to be okay. And then in this other cup, I'm going to use this sky blue. And that was more of a squirt than a drip, wasn't it? I'm not sure if you could even see that. Yeah. Could really have done this in layers, I believe, but if it fails, you'll all have a good laugh. Okay, so I'm going to just a little more of the sky blue, which is weird. The sky blue is greener than the solid blue with green. Okay, that's getting better. Still looking a little streaky, but you know, water's not all one colour. Can't hang about too much now because, as I said, the resin is getting warm. Stick on the side there. So I'm going to start with pouring up here so that hopefully it'll push the sand down a little from the sides. I'm going to take this, move that out just a little bit. I will Where's my sandy stick? Over there, hang on. Push the sand down a little bit more. Sorry, I'm talking a bit quietly there, aren't I? I do tend to mumble when I'm talking to myself. Okay. And now with the kind of, I feel like I've put these in the wrong way around because I wanted the lower part to be greener, but no, look, missed the mold. Not a lot of difference in colour actually. So I'm going to take this out and just layer this in and hope for the best. I do need to leave some space for the top coat. Doesn't need to be too much room though. Realise that's not properly on there either. That was going to end up lopsided too. Okay. And a little more the darker one at the bottom here, I think. I can actually see a difference in it now. I'm not sure how well it shows up on screen, but the shell is floating around. I'll pop him back out of the way in a second. Okay, those done. Now I'm just going to move the shell down. I like him to be seen a bit, but hoping that the sand hasn't gone too far under the shell, as I can already tell you're not going to be able to see them all, but I'd like at least the ones around the edges to be visible. So again, this ocean white, move that there so I can wipe it off in a second. Not something I've really used much. I think I've used it once before and it didn't do a fantastic job. I just need to get a little cup. Don't know why I took that with me, but I don't want to drop that directly into the resin. I've just got these little cups. Buy these again in large batches on Temu. So I'm going to give this a good shake. Oh, a little bit in here. That's going to be a lot more than I need, but it's okay. And then I'm going to use the back end of a micro brush and just kind of do that and hope for the best, really. It's not looking good, is it? Hopefully it's going to draw together. It looks like it already is, so that, or maybe it's just being pushed by that piece there. I'm beginning to think I should have used the Sinker white instead, but it's late for that now. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that because I think I'm just making a mess now. I'm not going to put any more in, but if I do this, I'm hoping it'll kind of move around. Okay, so I'm going to leave it at that. I'll pop it up on the heat mat I'm going to babysit it for a short while. Then I'll pop it up on the heat mat and I will come back and we'll get the back layer done. See you in a little while. Hi, back again. This is now completely set. I'm going to put some white resin on the back. I mean, as you can see, the white didn't do anything like what I wanted to do, and unfortunately, looks like the sand has all gone underneath the shelves. I don't know how much of that I'm going to be able to see from the other side, but don't think it's going to be much. Entirely my own fault. I should have been more, what's the word? Taking my time, more patient. That's the thing. Okay, so I'm going to mix up some white mica powder with some isopropyl alcohol. I'm going to back this in white, obviously. I always get carried away with the alcohol. I don't know why. Okay. So I just mix this up with the alcohol. It doesn't exactly dissolve the mica powder. I don't know what it does, but what it means is that you don't get any lumps of dry unmixed powder in your resin. So I'm going to pop that into, move this a little closer. So pop that in there. I will wipe this pot out and reuse it. I generally do that as much as I possibly can. Okay. So this actually mixes in once the mica powder's in dissolved, whatever it is, mixed with the alcohol, mixes in with the resin really quickly. It's just as well because it's starting to get very warm. It's, I don't know, 7:30 in the evening, and the thermometer in my garage is telling me it's 34 degrees. So Yay. One might say it's rather warm. Okay, so that's fully mixed in now. I'm just going to pour that over the back. I may have mixed up more than I needed, but we'll find out. Is that there's a very thin layer needed. Finish this off. Put a drop more in there. Again, impatient. It would have found its way around to the edges on its own without an issue, but I just didn't want to wait. It's not quite to the top. A little drop more in there actually. I think that's full enough. I'm going to pop this back on the heat mat, and I will be back in a couple of hours for the demold. See you in a bit. Hi guys. Excuse me, don't know what happened to my voice there. So ready to demold. I can already see that the back isn't quite as opaque white as I would have liked it to have been, but given that I don't think it's done exactly what I wanted to anyway in terms of the shells showing through, don't think there's any great loss. So it's peeled off. Now this mold isn't great either. You can see, at least I think you can see, there are marks in it. It arrived like that from Temu, unfortunately. But again, it's a practice piece, so get ready. Okay, so it's not as bad as I expected. We have lost most of the shells, and I've actually got quite a big air bubble on top of the shell here and here. Got one that showed through all right. No, it's not fantastic. I don't think using white on the back was the best idea I've ever had. You can sort of see where I tried to put waves in it. Overall, not fantastic, but not the worst fail I've ever had. You can see here where the shell is sort of lifted and the sand went underneath. And also quite a few air bubbles where the shells are. So, learned a few things from my mistakes. So I'll know better next time. Just going to pop that to the side. This is the mold that I put the extra sand and resin mix into. So here we go. Yeah, that turned out okay. Don't know what I'd ever use this mold for, to be fair, unless I was going to stick them on the wall, but it's just one of those things. Yeah, it turned out okay. There's no bubbles in it, so I'm quite happy with that. One more, I did have extra resin left over, so I filled this little jar mold that I got from Temu. I wish I'd had the time to actually pick out the detail in the mold, but I didn't want to wait for the resin to go off. It is actually quite a cute little jar. Let's see how well the top worked, because the top is quite detailed, so I'm not sure if I managed to get all the bubbles out. So it's a little flowery pot. So I'm going to, oh yeah, that turned out really well. There's not too many bubbles in there at all. I'll probably paint these later. The lid sits on the jar like this. Or I may just do a whole video on this one because it is very pretty. And yeah, overall, not an abject failure, but I can definitely see where I need to do some work. Okay, so that's it for this one. and I will see you for the next one. Bye. Hey guys, I want to try something to finish this off to see if I can rescue it. So this is something I first saw done by Lisa at the Girl in the Garage. I've also seen Donna at DNA Resin do this. Worked for them, so I've got everything crossed that it's going to work for me. So what I'm going to use is some UV resin, fairly decent amount in there, and some of this ocean white pigment. It's what I used to attempt the waves in the back that didn't actually work at all. I think that's opaque enough. So the plan is, oh, where are my bubbles? Right, so the plan is to put some of this just across here. And spread it out a little. And then toss everything for me. I've got a cup here with washing up liquid. Or dish soap, whatever you call it, depending where in the world you're from. That's actually not going to be good enough, is it? Not thick enough. But if I just dollop that on, it's definitely not working. I need lots more bubbles. I should have done this in smaller stages, I think, a little bit at a time. It's all a learning curve. Because I need to zap this quite quickly. Before the bubbles all burst. Not really working. It's a shame. It couldn't look much worse than it did to start with. This part is probably far too set for the bubbles to have any effect there now, because I've already zapped it. Quickly get across here. It would help if I had a decent UV light. I've actually ordered myself a new one, but I couldn't get it delivered to Spain, so I've actually sent it to my daughter in the UK so she can bring it over with her in a couple of weeks' time. This is looking a little bit better. What I need to do is dab this dry where the bubbles are, but I'm worried that the UV isn't set enough and that I'm going to mess it up. So I'm just going to give this a minute and I will be back with you. No, I won't. I'll just fast forward through this part. Okay, let's get myself a piece of kitchen roll, which I should have had ready first. And let's just hope for the best. And, you know, that's not actually that bad. I'm quite pleased with that. So I'll carry on curing this, and then I'll come back and do another wave, or at least extend this one across, and see how that goes. I'll be back with you in a second. Okay, what's in the cup is still absolutely fine. I'm just going to extend this a little bit across here. Get it to the edge of the tray. And I'm going to start with a thin wave here. Don't want to put too much resin down. I think I've already overdone it, but that's okay. Worst things happen at sea. Just whip this up a little more, get some more bubbles going. I will probably fast forward this as well. Make sure I get it close to the edge as I can here. And I think I'm going to leave it at that. Okay, if this is up. Very irritating not having a decent UV light. Okay, so I will finish this off camera, and I will come back and show you when it's finished. See you in a little. Hey guys, just popped on very quickly to show you the results. I have put a thin layer of clear UV over the top after I cleared away that. I did lose some footage, unfortunately, but I am very, very pleased with how that's turned out, for my first attempt at waves at least. So I hope you like that. There'll be a couple of pictures at the end, and one of these days I'll try it again. See you later.